Welcome to Al's Diner. Ice cream cools off the hottest summer days and brings a smile to just about everyone's face. It's no wonder it's America's favorite dessert. Philadelphia was the first place in the New World to serve ice cream. Now, George Washington craved ice cream so much, he ran up a $200 ice cream bill at a local establishment. So, he purchased 2 newfangled ice cream machines for Mount Vernon. Well, the crank freezer was an American invention that was patented in 1848, which revolutionized ice cream making, and soon ice cream parlors began to open in cities and towns all across the country. Today we're scooping up some cool treats of the best kind. Ice cream cone quilts without the calories. Oh, we have something for every palate. First, we'll show you how to make the ice cream cone block, and then there's 2 different settings for it. The first one is the chain setting, and of course, it comes from strips, and ooh, what yummy colors of ice cream. The second setting is the lattice and cornerstone setting. And that's strawberries and cream. So luscious. Well, Sue Bouchard made these quilts, and she'll be by any minute to help me get them.
Hi, Elle.
Good timing.
Thank you.
I like your skirt.
Thanks. I just wanted to dress up for your diner today.
Well, you are perfect in that.
Thank you.
Looks good.
Thank you.
And this is our favorite soda jerk, Orion Burns.
Hi,
Hello,
Orion.
ladies. Are you guys hungry for some ice cream today?
Of course.
What kind of cones do you have?
Well, today we have the sugar cones.
Yes, sugar.
We also have some waffle cones.
Perfect.
I want a waffle cone.
We like these.
And for the ice cream, we're serving bubble gum.
Perfect pink.
That is really, it looks like ice cream.
Gee.
Also, pralines and cream
Or butterscotch.
or butterscotch.
That's good.
We also have chocolate.
They'll like the chocolate.
Quilter's favorite.
And my favorite is pistachio.
Nope, mint. I like mint. Well, you need to have 14 fabrics for your ice cream for the chain setting, and,
Only 10 for your lattice and cornerstone setting.
well, this is making me hungry. Let's get the scoop on this quilt. We're getting right to the point and starting on the cone block.
That was pretty corny, Elle.
Well, that's the way I am. Now, this is what the cone patch looks like. Right here is our sugar wafer fabric. That looks good, doesn't it?
Perfect.
And then in the background, there's 2 background triangles on the sides. And once this patch is finished, then we're just going to take this patch and add background on all 4 sides. How about a really big, wide piece for ice cream scoops? That sounds good, doesn't it? Well, those background triangles start with a 6-inch strip. I'm right here on the end. I'm just going to square off that end, get rid of the salvage. And then these are cut into 3-inch by 6-inch rectangles. So what do you think, Sue? How's the fabric?
Fabric looks good now. Are they right sides together or wrong sides together?
Well, as long as they are right sides together or wrong sides together, that's good. But they all can't be right side up. Okay, now take them, because this is a mirror image patch, right? So I'm just going to take the rectangle, line up a longer ruler, corner to corner, and cut it on 1 diagonal. That looks good. Okay, Sue, you grab hold of those, and I want you to sort them so that they're all right sides up.
All right.
Now, this is a pretty interesting block. Actually, what you need is just 1/2 of the stack to do the ice cream cone. Now, the cone can be made from a 5 1/4 inch template. I just cut a template piece of plastic for you to cut your own at home if you want. And find the center of it. Let's see, if it's 5 1/4, the very center would be
2 5/8.
Oops, 2 5/8. Oops, I better cross that one out. You were always the good mathematician, Sue. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little, line up my ruler, my cutter, cut one side off. This is to be discarded. And then just take the second, cut and cut it along. Okay, we've got a cone shape, but there's one more cut I want to make, and that's just to line the 1/4 inch line right on the tip and cut off the very tip. Now the cone fabric is 5 inches wide, and when you place this template, it should line up on both ends. We've got that little flat, the little flat top. Is that good? Mm-hmm. And then it's lined up straight on the bottom. So you could take a marker and just turn your template up and down and cut the whole way, or mark across the strip, and then go back and cut it with your ruler. Let's see if we do like this.
That's a good idea.
Okay.
To mark it like that.
Mark it, then cut it. And let's see if we can kind of turn it sideways so we can get at least one cone shape. But have another ruler, makes it very easy to do. It's a triangle template ruler. It's hard, heavy plastic. I'm going to line it up, got the flat top at the top, lined up straight at the bottom. Just cut.
So that just saves you that step of marking, huh?
Cut to your cone's content. That's pretty good. Okay, now I've got these pieces done. Let me get all of these out of the way. And
Okay,
now
do
I
I
need
to turn those all right side up?
Oh, yes, that's useful. Did it for you. Okay, so now I'm just going to put the background triangles on either side of the cone and just take away the right stack, set that aside, take the cone and flip it right sides together to the background triangle on the left. And right when I do that, I'm just going to line that up to have this cute little tip right up at the top so that the 1/4 inch seam is just going to hit that right. So let's get going. Okay, 1/4 inch foot on the sewing machine. How many stitches?
15.
Of course. Okay, and this is a really great time to use your stiletto. Just keep those sides lined up like this. And then you just assembly line sew one after the other until you have this whole big row. But you know me, I'm in a hurry. So I'll let Sue press that piece.
We're going to press it so that we have the background on top. I set the seams, and then I just open it up by putting the iron right into that seam line.
Okay, great.
There you go.
Perfect. Now, once that's pressed open, then this other tip is created right up here. When I take the right background triangle, flip it right sides together, can get that all lined up right along there. Just sew that same 1/4 inch. So, I want to tell you a good story, Sue.
Okay.
Did you know that the ice cream cone came about completely by accident?
How'd it come about?
That's a good question. Good things always come about by accident, huh? Well, it happened at the Chicago World's Fair. That was 1904. Are you going to show us how to press that one?
Yes. Again, you just put the background on top, set the seam, and push it open.
Well, they were handing out ice cream, and everybody loved it until they ran out of dishes. So everybody was standing there screaming, ice cream, we all scream
for ice cream.
No dishes. So along comes the man selling waffles. So you know the end of the story.
Yep, I bet he wraps the ice cream with the waffle, huh?
Probably. Okay, now this patch right here is squared up to 4.5 inches. And what's critical about it, you could just use a regular square up ruler, but when you do it, make sure that you keep a 1/4 inch seam right up here, and it's 1/8 inch seam down in the edges. And this is exactly what we want to get when we're done. Got the 1/4 inch here, 1/8 inch here. Now, 6 inch square up's pretty good, but I would much rather take this square up ruler, just take the turquoise lines, just slip that right in there, line that up. This is already a 4.5 inch square, so you just turn it around on a small mat, trim on all 4 sides until you have this perfect patch right along there. It'd be really good if I cut off the top, wouldn't it? And then once you have that patch done, we've got to go on to our background pieces. So take and add pieces that are 2 1/4 or 2.5 by 4.5 on each side. At the bottom, a 2.5 by 8.5, and at the top, really wide, 4.5 by 8.5. Sew those seams and press them away from the ice cream cone. So now we're ready to go on to the ice cream. Our ice cream has no preservatives in it, no calories, and it's made from 100% pure cotton, and that's the best kind. Well, we'll do this with an applique method, and the product that we're using is light to medium weight, non-woven fusible interfacing, and you have to feel and find the smooth side. That's the side that we're actually going to trace our template on. Now make a scoop. Oh, how about a template that's about 5 inches wide, 4 inches tall, and you could just draw it so it looks like it's got some drips coming down the sides. We'll take that template, place it on the smooth side, use a permanent marking pen, and then just trace right around that ice cream. Oh, this is looking good. Looks like I had too much coffee today, Sue. Gone off the line just a little. Well, then leave 1/2 inch at least in between, and you can just invert the template, go ahead and trace a second one, and you're ready to go. Now your ice cream should be approximately 5 inches by 12 inches. That's enough for 2 scoops. You're going to need to have 7 different ice creams, 2 scoops each. And the mathematician, how many ice creams does that give us?
14.
Yes, that's good. How about chocolate? Have to have chocolate, my favorite. Okay, now place your fabric right side up and place the interfacing so that the fusible side is against it. So it's actually smooth side still up, interfacing against it. And then take some pins. I like to put at least 1 pin right through the center of each of them. Now, set your machine with a metal presser foot, or at least this plastic one has metal on the bottom. Reduce your stitch length to 1.8. That'll work. And the best thing that you can do is to reduce the pressure on your presser foot. So I just turned the dial, reduced it down to 1. So when I'm just zooming around these little dripping ice cream parts, I can just manipulate it easily in my machine. Okay, use needle down if you have it, and just sew on the line. So now when I get to this part, I'm going to stop with my needle down, raise my presser foot, and just sew right around there. I'm going to get both of these done. And Sue, while I do that, you get to have the chance to trim those pieces out.
All right, well, we have some pre-sewn over here, and I'm just going to trim them back about 1/8 of an inch from the sewing line and just follow it around. Doesn't have to be exact, but you don't want to go through your seam lines at all.
It wouldn't need to be exact because no 2 cones are alike, right?
That's right, and it's ice cream and it can melt.
Especially.
So you just kind of go along.
All right. How about I just pick one up and show you how to turn it? I have one I already trimmed. Now, take your sharp scissors and just cut a hole right in the middle of the fusible interfacing. Get your hole right there. Then you need to have a large straw, and I'll tell you, the larger the straw, the better. So take your straw and insert it right into the hole in the interfacing. Take it out to the end of the fabric and just stretch the fabric over the straw. Now you need to have a ballpoint bodkin. It's got to have this ball on the end. That's the best part. And just take that ball and just push that inside. And as I push, I kind of work the ice cream up over the top. Get it really working good. And then, if you want, just with your fingers, finish turning it right side out. I don't know, Sue, this looks like grape ice cream. Is that a possibility?
I think it is.
Grape, or how about, ooh, black cherry. Oh, gosh, I remember the time poor Patty got her ice cream. She was walking out of the ice cream store, dropped it right in front of the store. That's a very traumatic experience. Okay, now once the ice cream is turned right side out, then take a wooden iron and just push from the inside edge out so that you roll that fabric over the fusible interfacing. You don't want to see that interfacing. That's looking good. Now, take 100% cotton batting and cut one that's exactly the same size. Cut a cotton batting the same shape, and then you need to stuff it in there. The best tool to use is a pair of hemostats, and I just grab hold of the corner right here and just aim it right into that direction, get it pulled right out there, and you just take the hemostats in and out, positioning it until you get it completely flat. Well, this is looking good. How about yours, Sue? Do you have some finished?
Yeah, I have some got. In fact, I'm ready to fuse it onto our cone.
Great, we are getting
So
done.
what you can do, once it's stuffed, you can just center it right on top there. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just center it there. And what I like to do is I like to first press it from the top. Okay. And since that cotton battie's in there, sometimes you have to go back and just flip it over, and I press it again from the back just
and
to make
use
sure.
Steam.
I like steam.
Lots of it.
There you go. Or you can go ahead, if you really like making scoops, you can make a triple decker.
This is the best. If you can't quite make up your mind, just get that together. I like that. Now, to finish the outside edges, you could do it a number of different ways. Well, if you're like Sue, you will sew yours by hand, the H word, and just sew all around the outside edge. Well, if you're like Elle, you're going to do it by machine.
Fast.
Now, fast, that's for sure. And you could use a number of different stitches. This one is with thread that practically matches your ice cream, and so you can't see it really well. And then a little decorative stitch running right through here. But I did this one with some red thread, just so you could see it. You can use a blind hem stitch or an applique stitch. Use invisible thread on the top and just stitch around so that your straight stitch is on your background and your bite is right into your cone. And then just do that decorative stitch right down through there. You'll have your ice cream finished. Well, we have two settings we need to get together, Sue.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to start with the lattice and cornerstone setting because
It's the easiest.
and it's great. Well, it reminds me of the 40s with 3 ice cream cones across, 3 down, and 1 additional border just to make it larger. It's just perfect in red. Now it comes from strips, and it's easiest if you cut your strips in half, 1.5-inch strips, and go ahead, place them so that you have the 2 darks on the outside edge or 2 mediums, 1 right in the middle. Piece them together and then just press your seams towards the darkest. Now, once you have your lattice completely sewn together, measure your block. And oh, this is based on your measurement. That's the best. If it were perfect, the width would be 8.5 inches, but guess I'm not perfect because I'm actually going to cut these at 8 1/4 for the width, and then go ahead and turn it and cut the length. And actually, perfect, it would be 10 1/2. But you know what? It just shrinks up a little bit. So I'm going to cut it at 10 1/4. And then with this remaining part right here, this can be put into the 9 patch. So these are cut into 1.5-inch strips. Now there's just one more set that you need for the 9 patch. You need to actually do the reverse of the fabrics. And so 2 of the light on the outside, 1 of the dark in the middle. Press the seams in towards the middle and cut them into 1.5-inch sections too. Let's see if I can build that 9 patch right here. And put 1 right along here. Okay, Sue, I'm going to go ahead and give you some of those pieces. If you'd like to start laying out up on that end.
Okay.
Let's just put the blocks in the middle and lay the lattice like this. That looks good. How about some cornerstones right in here?
Oh, that looks
now
nice.
we're actually just doing 2 across.
Here, I'll put some of
How
those up.
about, and some blocks down here for me. And we're going to actually lay this out, and then we'll sew vertical rows together from top to bottom and then go across. And if you'd like to add that extra border around the outside edge, it would be just perfect.
Looks
Okay,
really cute.
It's great. Whoops.
Okay, it goes on the bottom.
I think whenever you put the piece in the wrong place, you find out very quickly that it is a length or a width.
No,
How about for along here? We just need to have a couple more here.
I think it turns out cute.
We can sew it together and do our quilting. Same ice cream cone blocks.
Different story.
This time the ice cream is set together with the chain block, and they just alternate between the 2. So the top row has 3 ice cream blocks,
And 2 chain blocks.
and then the next row has only 2 ice cream,
And 3 chain blocks.
and then the whole outside edge has a framing border and a rainbow border just for the finishing touch. Now that chain block comes from strips again. There's 3 different sets of strips. The first set of strips comes from the background, which is cut at 5.5 inches, and the 2 outside strips are cut 2 inches wide. So you're going to sew those together, press the seam towards the background, and hopefully these are going to measure around 8.5 inches in width. Cut off 2-inch sections, and for each chain block, you need to have 2 of them. So let's just set those aside and go on to the second section. Now they start out with 2-inch strips on the outside. You actually do pairs, 2-inch pairs here and here and here. And then the strip in the middle is a 2.5-inch background strip. Sew those together, press the seams towards the darkest, and cut off 2-inch sections again. How many for each chain block? 2. 2. And we'll just put those right along here. Now the third set is made from even wider background strips. These background strips are cut at 3.5 inches, 1 on each side, and then this piece right in the middle is actually 2.5 inches, so it goes into the second section. Cut these into 4.5-inch pieces. Oh, they're even wider. You only need to have 1 per chain block, and that's going to go right in the middle. So sew those strips together, and then just go ahead and press the seams away from the center. Now, once your chain block is done, it would be really useful if these 2 blocks are the same size. So measure your chain block, find out what its measurement is, and then square it up so that the ice cream and the chain are exactly the same. They go together a lot better, don't they,
Yeah,
Sue?
they do.
Okay, let's start laying out the blocks.
Okay.
We
Here's
have
some cones for you.
Okay. So we have 2 ice cream at the top, and then we're going to have
Kind of
2
have to hold on.
chain. Yeah, watch, it's going to fall right off. Okay, how about ice cream here?
Oh, here's a yellow one.
This is looking good. So the whole center is made up of 25 blocks. There's going to be 13 ice cream and 12 chain blocks, 5 across, 5 down. So the whole center together, and then once the center is sewn together, add a narrow border. Here's your framing border and your rainbow border. And the rainbow border is made out of strips of ice cream. Perfect. Sew it all together. We have another quilt to finish. Well, that was fun, Sue.
Yeah, and this is really good ice cream.
This is good. Well, it's hard work, but it's worth it.
Yes,
for
it
the
is
reward.
worth it.
And I love your miniature wall hanging.
Thank you. I just used the same techniques. I just did it at a smaller scale. And I have a little quarter so you can actually see how small it is.
And how big do you think that
The little cone.
the cone is?
Probably about 1.5 by 2.
You are the queen of small.
I like small.
For sure. And this one is great. And the red colors from the 40s.
Yeah, this one I just made with the leftovers from the Lattice and Cornerstones quilt that we did.
And I like your little scallops around the outside
and
edge.
just put some leftover buttons around it.
Great place for buttons.
Thanks.
Well, this reminds me of the time that we went with our friends up to Julian, and we sat down at the drugstore counter. We
They
were
had
all
sodas.
eating ice cream. We went to visit the quilt shop. We had so much fun.
That was
I think
fun.
ice cream makes everything fun, don't
Yeah,
you?
It definitely does.
I think ice cream really is America's #1 favorite.